Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Trinity Episcopal Church. I'm Bill Green, and what we're going to do in the next half hour is show some of our congregants and perhaps a few of our guests what we're doing with our new streaming services. And the reason we wanted to do this is because the church has spent $7,000 on this equipment that allows us to stream or televise our church services. We're all amateurs, and I'm an amateur behind the scenes. Well, not really, but we're learning, and it's getting better every week. So the first thing we're going to do is actually show you the equipment. Priest Peter Swore is here, the Reverend Peter Swore, and Alice Moyson is here. Alice has been technical directing. Change to camera 2. There you guys are.
Say hi, Alice.
Hi, Alice.
So what are we doing, Peter?
So good evening, everybody. Alice, I'm going to just show them a little of this. So much of what runs our services here is this table. You may recognize it comes straight from the Trinity kitchen, but for the purposes of worship, this is where we have our monitor, our soundboard, where I can mute myself. Bill likes this feature because he can do. And notice I disappeared for a second. And then it also controls the shots that we're able to show you. It also makes it so we can throw something up onto the screen like, "Welcome to Trinity Episcopal Church." So those are called lower thirds that we're running right now. Everything is pre-programmed in here. So for instance, it's nighttime here. Am I right?
It's nighttime.
But at the same time that it's nighttime, we took some extra shots beforehand. And so I'm going to show you in just a moment, we're going to have stained glass windows show up. So I'm going to just hit this space bar right here. And over on this part of the monitor, it shows me an image I'm about to send out onto the internet. And so to do that, I just hit the space bar. And amazingly, you still hear me, but instead of seeing me sitting at a monitor with my mask on, you are currently seeing a shot that we pre-recorded of our Lord Jesus Christ along with two different saints at his son. Oh, Bill wants to go back, and so we're back on camera number 2.
Okay, now on the monitor, on the stained glass of Christ near me, I see one monitor. And on the far monitor, I see this camera actually, right?
Yes.
What's on the far monitor? So right now what's on the air is what I'm seeing in camera 2. I'm going to zoom back, because I didn't show you hitting the space bar, because I knew you were going to do it. All right. Go ahead and change from this camera.
So to switch over to the stained glass, all I have to do is hit the space bar. And similarly, if I immediately wanted to pop right back to the altar, I just tell the computer that I want the altar. Here, I'll show you this. All right? All I have to do is select an image here of the altar. I click on it once, and it's now showing up on the second screen here on the left. And then the second we want that to show up for you all, again, Alice or Bill or I would hit the space bar, and before you know it, I'm off screen and you're looking at Trinity's beautiful altar. So I'm going to bring myself back on screen. Bill, do you want to talk through any other pieces of this?
You've got a preview monitor, you've got a program monitor.
You know, I'll explain one thing, and careful of the HDMI there. So one of the other kind of cool pieces of this is what we can do with service in terms of music and readings in advance. Just like right now we're coming to you live, I also could meet up with you on a Monday morning, and you could be the person who's scheduled to read one of the lessons. And you could go ahead and stand up at the pulpit or at the lectern, and I just put this camera right on you, we'd have the mic on you, and I could record the entire thing. And what would happen is Sunday morning, I could just play that role and it would magically show up. That's what we did with this candle shot. Bill, can you show them that? There you go. So this candle shot is a pre-recorded image that Bill took. So when I click on this, just normal, it's going to pop up over here.
And you're previewing.
Exactly. And believe it or not, when I hit the space bar, it's going to pop over, it's going to stream across the web, and you'll notice that right now the candle flame is moving. The funny thing is, no candles are lit at Trinity right now. And so now you're seeing a little bit of the back way that we make the services appear the way they do. Nell is usually in here playing. We have live singing that's occurring. But, for instance, when you see Michael Morin playing his guitar at the postlude, he's pre-recorded that at his home. He sent me the file in advance, and we're able to just send it out as a seamless part of the service. I will tell you, it feels really kind of odd to be here in the church when we do all this, because whenever we play pre-recorded stuff, it's just silent here in the church. Right, Bill?
Right.
Alice?
We cut the mics and yell TV directions.
That's right. So it's just an interesting way that we're able to put the pieces together. And part of what we're hoping to do when we do this is bring in as many members of Trinity as possible. Now, over to my left, and Bill's got a shot of it right now, is this soundboard. This soundboard truly controls everything you are hearing. So right now, for instance, okay, I found myself. Right now, I have a mic that's over near where Bill started the service, or started this broadcast. I've got that muted, and I only have myself on the mic. If we had two people singing right now, I could bring that mic back up, and suddenly you'd be able to hear both voices. So this is the thing that controls everything. Bill, you've got a shot right here where they can see all the different microphone cords that are feeding into here from the piano, from the altar, from the podium, from the lectern, from all kinds of different places. And it's all pulled together in this place where we can increase volume and decrease volume so that it mixes well. Now, I know there have been a few Sundays now where you've had a hard time hearing me or other folks in the church, and that's because we're just learning how to put all of this together. Now, I think Bill is going to talk to us just a bit about photography, because I know a lot about the sound side of things and the computer side of things. What I know next to nothing about is the side of things that has to do with kind of the artistic side of making the service come alive. Bill always talks about establishing shots, right, Alice? Yep. And I have no idea what that meant, but he's kind of explained it to me. And so I think, Bill, you're just going to explain a little bit about that.
Yep.
And we'll go from there. So right now, I'll show you what I'm doing, folks. Right now, I'm on the camera that's pointed at me. I'm going to cue up Bill's camera in the preview side. And now I'm going to hit the space bar.
Take it. And here I am. Is my mic on?
Bill. Your mic's on.
Okay. I got to keep reminding myself to put the, Pam, send me another text if you can't hear me. What I want to do is talk a little bit about photography. And this is for everybody. Pull out your smartphones if you've got them. And we're just going to talk a little bit about photography. And I'm going to use the most wonderful graphic in the world. I'm going to use this, what is that called? Flip chart. Remember flip charts? Now, perfect. Now, audio's good. I walked away from the mic, honey. That was me. So, whenever you're going to shoot something for TV, you want to shoot it horizontally on your cell phone. And old TVs were 3x4. New TVs are 9x16. Okay? And whether you're shooting for a professional television broadcast or just for yourself, when you look through the viewfinder, pretend to draw a tic-tac-toe board on your screen.
I'm going to zoom in on that.
Okay? Okay? And that tic-tac-toe board obviously divides your screen up into ninths, but it gives you a good idea of where your focal points are going to be. And when a person looks at a panorama or just anything, they tend to look at that top third line, that horizon line. And so if you're going to take a picture of somebody, you want to kind of put your eyes just above the horizon line. The other thing you want to remember is leave 10% all the way around out of the picture, because it might get cropped. Some screens aren't as good, especially in the old days, they weren't as good. So if someone's looking right into the camera, like I am now, because I've looked into so many, I want to be in the middle, all right? But if I'm looking off to one side, I want to be off to one side just a little bit. So you want to lead the person, I can see myself now a little bit. You want to lead the person in the direction that they're looking. You don't want to take this shot with too much room behind me. So when Nell's playing the piano, you want Nell playing the piano like this. You don't want Nell playing the piano kind of like this. So I mean, let the picture kind of, I don't know what I want to say, but it's taking your eye that way on the screen. So lead a person a little bit in the direction that they're looking, and always give them 10%. Now, when
so you're telling me the top
Yeah.
thing that's showing up right now that says Bill Green, senior warden, is called the lower third?
Well, it's because it's in the lower third, but it doesn't take up a third of the picture, it takes up probably 20%. But that's something you as a photographer, if you're going to be shooting for us here at Channel 6, at Trinity Church, don't go bragging just because you're from Trinity now, okay? But if you're going to be shooting for us at Trinity, you want to remember when there's a lower third up to not take this shot. Go ahead, zoom in too tight on my face. People won't be able to stand it. But see, that lower third doesn't work there. There's way too much headroom, all right? But if you tilt down and kind of put me there, the shot works a lot better. So, that's something that you'll always want to remember. Put a person, like an anchor person there, right? And with their eyes just about on that line, they'll look evil, but
I'm zooming in.
your eyes will be drawn right to it. And same when you're taking your shots with your smartphone. Imagine that it's divided into those ninths, and put the focus point, the focal subject on that top third line. And remember, when you're talking about somebody who's preaching or somebody who's singing, lean them a little bit in the direction that they're looking. Now, I want to give you a couple of tips for smartphones that I think are really fun to know. And one is when you're taking a selfie. So you're
Bill,
gonna,
I'm going to zoom in on your selfie.
okay, just right over my shoulder, because the important thing to know about taking a selfie is if you've got these old-fashioned earbuds, yeah, we can all take a selfie and everybody's trying to get their thumb there and they're trying to get their thing, they get their hand in the way and then they push the button, right? On your smartphone, your volume control, if it's an Apple product I know, will take your picture. Ready? I didn't
Look
make
at
a
that.
right?
That's amazing.
So remember that your volume controls also work as shutters. Okay, I just took 5 too many pictures of me. And,
Don't worry, I'm in the background too,
and
so
if,
it's
and
all
if,
good.
and if you want to get a little bit away, can you get a shot of that? You just put your camera down. What do I do? There we go. Yikes. Boom. Put your camera down. This is something Pam always does for the family pictures. Peter, if we want to do a selfie together, your little talking microphone here will take that selfie. Smile.
Smile.
See? And you can get a little bit away from your camera and use this as a shutter control.
That's amazing.
And a lot of people don't know that. All right, but remember that ninths thing that we're talking about, and to lead the subject in the direction that you're looking. All right, now, if the subject is walking or running, same thing. All right, and we have a problem with these cameras. They've got lag in them. If I move my hand quickly, is it pixelating, Alice?
Oh, it's doing well tonight.
Oh.
Sometimes, though, to be fair, to Bill's point, if we move quickly,
They
it
pixelate.
pixelates really
And we've
bad.
done a lot of work on straightening out cables and stuff. I wonder if that's removed some of the noise. But anyway, but if someone's running, you always want to lead them in the direction that they're going. So Usain Bolt running for the
We don't
gold.
want to be like this.
Right. See, it's a bad picture, but this is a more interesting picture. Another thing, faces are more interesting than butts. I said that to every photographer I worked with so many times.
So that's why I'm really in on you right now.
Yes, especially with me. And anybody remember Gary Moore? He did To Tell the Truth. He was the highest paid guy in TV. He lived in Northeast Harbor, and I worked with him as a young man in the 70s. I was behind the camera then. And he was doing something about a sidewalk art festival. I zoomed in on him at the end, and he went, "Young man." I said, "What?" And he goes, I didn't even get it. He said, "No closer than this. I'm 70 years old," or something like that. And so I learned from Gary Moore that, when you get to be in danger of COVID troubles, you don't want to have an extreme close-up either. What are the other points I want to make? So those are kind of the basic points that I want to make, I guess, about, structuring a TV shot, leave 10% all the way around, lead the subject a little bit in the direction that they're going. If Peter's talking into the camera, you can go straight in. 7 things you can do with a camera. Ready, Peter? You can zoom. Okay?
Wow, that's really close.
And photographers have been focusing on my mustache forever, so that's another reason I can't shave it. Pam likes it, and photographers used it to focus. But with a camera like this, you zoom in and focus. Now, with your smartphones, a lot of times you miss a shot, since I'm talking smartphones, you miss a shot because you go like that and the camera takes its time to automatically focus and set the aperture setting, the amount of light that's let into the camera. With a smartphone, you just touch it and hold your finger down, and you'll see this AE and AF lock come on. That automatically locks your focus and your exposure, they're calling it aperture setting. And so then if you're filming somebody in a race or jumping a high jump or something like that, you've pre-focused and preset your aperture.
And Bill, I just want you to know, as you're talking and moving, I keep seeing AF show up on this camera,
Right.
on the little viewfinder, because it's aperture focus.
What we've got to do with those cameras is not let them do that automatically. We know where you're going to be at the pulpit. We know how far away the camera's going to be, and we want to come in on your face, which is the next thing I wanted to say, like here, and push your finger on your smartphone, and it will set that aperture in such a way that if a person's in a light background, if a person's like in front of the ocean, if you go in on their face and set the exposure, it will expose their face properly, and then you're ready to take your shots of them, and their face is properly exposed, not the ocean. So take your finger, put it on the cell phone, and you see the little square appear, it says AEAF lock, and now I've got a great shot of Alice. So that's another thing. Oh, I'm sorry, I should have shown the camera. You got it?
There you go.
So the other 5 things you can do with the camera, you can pan. Pan that camera, Peter. That's left or right. You can tilt it up and down, which this has a tilt and lock. I'm going to unlock it. Hold on, there you go. You can dolly toward me, which is, we're getting there with these. You can truck left and right. And because these cameras are on tripods, Peter, you can take a picture.
Yeah, here, I'll show the other camera.
Yes. You can crane. Need a mic. You can crane, and that would be, in fact, Alice, if you would, take camera 1, and I'm going to...
So switch over to the other camera.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right, you're checked out on that. You're doing great. You got it. Okay, so, and what craning does is it moves the background up and down. So, you're out at the ocean. I'm going to take a shot of Peter. You're out at the ocean, and there's a shot of Peter. He's looking good, but you know what? We got a microphone in the way.
We do.
So we raise the background by raising the camera.
Look at that.
That would be called craning. Now, in this case, I'm picking it up. But see how Peter in the background compared to the mic, raising or lowering the camera. So,
And then Peter will always say, careful of the HDMI cord.
yeah. Exactly. So those are the 7 things that you need to do. And when you do them with your handheld devices,
Go ahead and switch back over to...
when you do it with your handheld devices, that just involves, walking towards somebody. I was going to get back on my mic. Walking towards somebody, or Pam will think this is so funny. I've lost my camera.
Folks, it's right over there.
There
We
it
found
is.
it. It's in the front pew,
Couldn't be too far.
where no Episcopalian is
Has
ever
ever sat, unless it was full house, unless they're baptism. So, that's what you do with your handheld camera. You want to get the background in the right place. Raise or lower your camera. You don't want something growing out of a person's head. Like the cross is growing out of my head. That cross is a bit of a problem. Is it growing out of my head?
Not quite. Now it is.
Position me so that cross is growing out of my head. Can't really see. So you really wouldn't want that. You'd want to offset your subject a bit so that the cross is there. A wreath the same way off. A light often looks like a halo. Get those lamps out of the background and offset your subject. Can you hear me?
I'll say a few words when you're done.
So that's all I got, Peter. 7 things you can do with a camera, a couple of tips for smartphones, and Ruth Johnston's gift made a lot of this TV stuff possible.
Absolutely.
And so don't forget, if you want to remember us, what are those gifts called when you leave us
In
money?
your will, your legacy
Leg-
stewardship.
Legacy stewardship. Ruth left us $25,000.
That's exactly
really-
right.
We're going to paint the steeple, I hope. We're going to do some really nice things.
That's right.
Thanks to Ruth's generosity.
All right, I'll jump over there.
Take it.
So I just wanted to say a few things about why we're doing what we're doing. Obviously, COVID is a huge piece of what we're dealing with. Now, see, right now, Bill is making sure the shot is cutting off my head. Right, Bill? Okay, that's good. We're doing this because we're in a time where we can't physically gather in the church. And so Ruth's gift means that at least we have this way to see this holy place, to connect with God and to connect with worship. And not only that, but to reach out beyond our walls to other folks who wouldn't be able to join us otherwise. Think about it. We've got folks in Florida, in South Carolina. We've got folks all across the country who are joining us here at Trinity Church. And in normal times, we would not be able to do that. So thanks be to God for that ability. Now, for this to really be something we can continue in the future, we can't just rely on me knowing how to run pieces of this, because Bill and Alice, I think you would agree at this point, I know enough to get us into trouble. I don't know enough to fix the problems. So the more of us who get to know the system, the better chance we really know what we're doing. Also, we can't just assume that a few people will keep running this indefinitely. We want to spread this out so it truly is a ministry of Trinity Church. And so I hope you, if you found this interesting, if you'd like to learn how to use a soundboard, if you're willing to learn how to click a few keys on the keyboard, if you're willing to learn from a 2-time Emmy Award-winning journalist like Bill Green how to deal with a camera, let's do this. Let's find ways to safely learn and to serve. And we do this, yes, to learn and to serve, but above all, to speak about hope and grace in the midst of a time that's pretty dark these days. So thank you for joining us. If you're interested in being part of this ministry, I'd love to talk to you. Email me, priest@trinitychurchportland.org, or call the church office. However you'd like to reach out, we would love to walk alongside you as we continue this ministry. Anything else we want to say tonight?
Can I take the candle shot?
Take the candle shot. We're going to close with the candle shot. Many blessings tonight, friends.